Okay. Uh, it is sort of difficult for me to talk about what I really think happens with string figures because it can seem like I am a new age kind of person talking spiritual nonsense. But believe me, I don't feel that what I am trying to teach young people is spiritual nonsense or a way to gain people looking at me or anything of that nature. I really do think that the hands are the most important part of the body when trying to train the brain. I think that reading and writing and math and all of the things that come with that are also important. But I believe that man was a hand animal before he was any other sort of different animal. And that learning to make tools and of course to use strings or sinews or things to tie things together. I mean, for example, if you want to make an axe that works, you have to put a handle on it. The only way you can put a handle on it is to wrap strings around it so that it's held in place. And you have to have some pretty good ideas of how to do that string tying in order for such a thing to be used with force. But strings and sinews and things like that disappear, and the only things you have left are the stones, the blunt instruments. So there is a gap in our knowledge of how the first humans came to master their environment. I happen to think that if you look at the way the brain is organized and how the hands are mapped onto the brain by far more than any other part of the body, that the hands are vitally important. I also think that there is a particular time when the human animal is predilected to be able to learn. And of course, one of the first times is when they learn the language and they learn how to crawl and walk and become toddlers, the 2, 3, 4-year-old monsters that we have to tame. And one of the ways that I feel that we can tame them into a realization by them of what they need to be doing in order to become better able to be like grown-ups, like big people that they see, is to teach them string figures so that they learn a hand craft which is difficult and which rewards them with a great feeling of confidence that they can do anything complex. And that's one of the reasons that I think that every young person should learn how to do the diamond system that I have tried to articulate, which is to do 2 diamonds, 1, 3, 4 diamonds, Jacob's ladder, 5, 6, 7 diamonds, and then use other kinds of ways of making these figures more complex, like Cotilloweek and things of that nature, which you can read my books or watch my videos and understand what that means. And then whenever they, early on, 4 or 5 years old, you can teach them how to do 3-loop figures. And the 3-loop figure that I think is the easiest is 10 men. And this is a very small string to be doing 10 men, and I will only do it just to show. But if you do 10 men like that, and it's something easily mastered, after you've got your hands together, then you explode into a situation where you can make so many figures that no one can possibly make more than the infinitesimal 1% part of all that's possible. And you can begin to find ways of figuring out your own figures that no one else has ever done and teach other people how to do them. And all of these activities essentially inform the young person with their own sense of ability to master difficult material. And one of the difficult things, I was a teacher for a long time, a math teacher, one of the difficult things to do with young people, any young person, but the sooner you get them over this hump, the better for them, is that they can learn anything. And that once they begin learning it, it becomes more and more interesting. That it doesn't look interesting in the beginning because it just doesn't make sense. And of course, things like math, where you just have to get a 1.34 is the answer, and who the hell cares about whether 1.34 is an answer? But if you get a string figure on your hand, you can see what you have done. And once you see that you can do something like that, you want to do more of it, and then you can talk to the young person about how they can use that way of learning, of practicing and getting better, until they can master anything. And it's fun to learn.